4:00, we can turn the page to happier news. I had to discuss the Pistons opening the show. Odyssey.com Rewind, you want the full rundown of your owner and his ridiculous comments. But let's turn our attention. I wasn't here yesterday. Obviously, Monday being the holiday. I have not had a chance to talk about the Lions, and I want to do just that. And I think a couple of things. First things first, obviously there is no one on the list that I feel better for than you, the fans, because you guys have been put through hell. And it's not lost on people outside of Detroit. It's not lost on us. Like, we understand it. And I mean, I can only take you through situation at my house for the holidays. I mean, it's a collection of New Yorkers. Now, by proxy that I've been driving the bus that the Lions are going to win the division and win a playoff game since last February, yes, I'm invested. I don't care about being right. I just care about Kenny in a tuxedo in the luxury suite. I wanted this for the listeners, and I wanted this because it's a hell of a lot of fun. But, like, my own mom was rooting for the Lions. My mom doesn't like the Lions. My mom doesn't like the Giants. My mom doesn't even like football. And my mom was just like, I just feel so bad for the people. I want them to win. I'm like, yes. When Mullins threw that last pass, you could have heard a pin drop in the house. That ball felt like it was in the air for about 38 seconds. When you see a quarterback drive the pocket, step up, and then cut one loose over the middle of the field, you know someone's open. And you go, oh, not like this. Don't do this. This would be SOL. This would be emotional damage. It would have been terrible. And then you saw the moment. And you're like, oh, my God. Thank Christ. So, yes, I am happy for the people. But I want to tell you something. And I mean this with the utmost sincerity. I'm really, really happy for Dan Campbell and Sheila Ford Hamp. And here's why. A lot of people, myself included, said a lot of really bad stuff about those two. Sheila, when she allowed Quinn and Patricia to stay a year too long. Sheila, when she came out at 1-6, promising it would be different. Guilty as charged. I'd had enough. And for Dan Campbell, who at 1-6 and sitting at about 4-20 as a head coach, we talked about it. He had about 3 weeks to save his job. He had to start winning games, and he did. Still wish he wouldn't have screwed up the Buffalo game. He would have made the playoffs last year. The point is, those people got put through hell. Some of it justified, some of it not. But for them to see it through and get there, this is the first time in my life I feel like the Lions have a coach who really cares. There's an emotional connection with this man, this franchise, this city. It feels right. And he's perfectly imperfect. I'm never going to love everything Dan Campbell does. I don't have to. But this team will go to war for him. And if this team goes to war for him, it means you, the fans, are going to go to war for them. And I still think you're going to be a real tough out in the playoffs. You're going to be a real tough out at home. So it's all good vibes. But let me give you the bad news. The bad news is the following. If you don't play better than the way you played Saturday, you will lose a home playoff game. You cannot, against Nick Mullins, handing you 4 turnovers, be in survival mode with 30 seconds to go. Can't happen. And that's a game where Minnesota had guys dropping like flies, and you never could gain true game control. So for a day, I'm thrilled. For a day, the division, the home game, Kenny in a tuxedo, it's all exciting. And I hope it helped Christmas. But understand now, all right, Christmas is dead. Now we're on to the next. You don't play any different, the Cowboys are going to bury your body in about a minute. And if you don't play better and you don't tighten this thing up on defense, I'm sorry, guys. For a day, it's okay. But long term, you play that way and it's Matthew Stafford on the other side, not Nick Mullins, look out. Kenny in a tuxedo ain't gonna be so fun. Then I'm gonna have to drive him home. It's gonna be a total disaster. But I want to hear from you guys on it. Because I know for me, I was terrified on the last drive. I can't imagine what a Lions fan went through. I was terrified.
It was absolutely terrifying. Because you didn't know, by the quality of game that they played up to that point, you didn't know which direction it was going to go. You weren't confident. There was no part of Lions fans leading up to that drive that was like, we got this. No problem.
I never felt that way.
No, absolutely not. That interception was gigantic. I jumped off my couch. I think I woke up the neighbor or something.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, big problem. But it was fine. Lions fans, there's no shot they were confident. And going into Dallas, I don't know what the reason to be confident with that is either. I have a bad feeling about that game, and I'm as big a Lions fan as you know, Mike.
I think you're going to get murdered this weekend. I hate saying it. I know the 2 seeds on the line. Dallas off back-to-back losses, coming home, where they're a whole different animal. Their season's on the line. You've been drunk for 3 days, high on your own supply, short week. You win that game, you can talk Super Bowl. If you go to Dallas and you win Saturday night, talk Super Bowl. I'll be the first one. I'll allow it. I'll put a piece of tape over Rico's mouth and sit him in the corner. But if you don't, you got to put that stuff to bed. I think they're a good team. They're not a great team. I think they're going to win a home playoff game. I have major doubts about the divisional round. I just do. And look, that's still a wildly successful season. Guys, I promised you were going to win the division and win a home playoff game. We're halfway there. I almost had it right that the Minnesota games wouldn't matter. Only one of them did. Like, you did it. And you have every right to feel great about it. But the question is, how far can they take it? ESPN Power Rankings, they have you number 4 in the NFL. That would suggest you're a Super Bowl team. I think it's possible. Anything's possible. I've seen teams lesser than this Lions team make a Super Bowl. But we're talking about probable. Now, I heard the morning show today, and Cookies was on with Stoney, and guys are calling in, oh, the Niners look like garbage. Be careful now. I wouldn't judge them off the worst game they've played in maybe a year and a half.
Whether it's them, whether it's Philly, whether it's Dallas looking bad, every NFL team is going to have a part of their season where they just don't look right. KC might be a little bit more real than other teams, but as far as the Niners or as far as Dallas at home is a scary monster. You're going to have to deal with that next week.
Listen, if you have designs on hosting multiple home playoff games, you got to win this weekend. That's it. And I don't think you're doing it. If you could get Philly here, I could find a way in that game. If you got to take Goff and put him outside in Philadelphia at divisional round, no. That one I have a hard time with. Going to San Francisco, no. No. You don't have the pass rush to do what the Ravens did to Purdy. You don't. But in the here and now, I think it's okay to just celebrate it. I think it's okay to just enjoy yourself. But if you want to really have that next conversation where everyone's allowed to dream in a realistic manner, yeah, it's Saturday night. You have to win Saturday night. And the setup couldn't be worse for you. Couldn't be worse. If the Cowboys had been winning the last few weeks, it would actually be better for you. It couldn't be worse. So I'd love your thoughts on it. I'd love to know what the scene was like this weekend watching that game. That last play, the ball was in the air for what seemed like an eternity. I don't know if it was, what was it, a combo of elation, relief? I don't know. I was exhausted. I was emotionally spent after the game. So I was just like, oh, thank God. Oh, thank God they won. But I did not want to come in here and have the combination of angry Lions fan into Wolverine fans later in the week. Which, by the way, I have no idea what to do with that game. None. Kenny and I were talking about it earlier. I don't think Bama's some layup. And I don't think Bama's going to destroy you the way some people do. I think it's absolutely on the table to beat Alabama. But I don't know what to do with it. What's real, what's not, no idea. I think the playoff's as open as it's ever been. So why not Michigan? The other side of it, J.J. McCarthy's had one touchdown since my birthday. My birthday's in October. That's a bit of an issue. And the Big Ten, it's kind of ass. So I don't know. I don't know what side of the coin is. Has Michigan been playing possum? Is Michigan going to bully Alabama? Is that the plan? After Bama just bullied Georgia? No slander. Sorry, Kenny. We'll get to that game later in the week, though. I can't wait to watch it. I just have no idea. And very rarely do I go into games and I'm kind of like, I could see it both ways. No, I generally give you an opinion. I got no effing clue. None. 248-539-9797. We'll get to your calls next. 97.1.